Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long boy clothes, 1975. A YouTuber's on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends used to bug me. Long boys clothes, 1975.
Hey YouTube, Non Boys Post 1975, and welcome to another Nostalgic Memories of video. Well, you know what it is because it's in the title. But yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this series because, you know, I can wax poetic about, you know, memories of the systems I had as a kid, you know, the experiences, the unboxings, you know, the original unboxings, the games, you know, saving up for them all day long. You know, it just really is enjoyable because they've been such an important part of my life. As always, I just do this off the cuff. I think there's something to be said for being in the moment, if that makes sense. So, you know, I watch this back when I edit it and I'll probably think, oh, bollocks, I forgot to say this, oh, I forgot that. But I don't know, there's nothing wrong with bullet notes and stuff like that and people who prepare for these things, but I don't know, I enjoy just winging it and being in the moment, if that makes sense. Anyway, this is a biggie. I mean, the reason is because someone asked me this. Why haven't you done your nostalgic memories of your Mega Drive? And the reason for that's quite simple. I did a video response, you know, years ago to Happy Console Gamer on one of the anniversaries of the Mega Drive, and his video was called, you know, the Sega Genesis Rocks, and I did a response called the Sega Mega Drive Rocks, and did my, you know, entire history or my initial experience and history of my imported Japanese Mega Drive. So if you want to know my memories on that, look up in my vlog playlist, the Sega Mega Drive Rocks, and that pretty much covers it. But that, although it was years ago, I'm getting off topic now, is sort of the template I use for doing these videos. Excuse me, I need my aspartame to help preserve my bones for future generations. Coke Zero, poor man's Diet Coke. Now, aspartame. Nostalgic memories of the Super Famicom. Now, people are probably going to say, why are you saying Super Famicom? It's the Super Nintendo, or it's the SNES. And yes, it is. But, you see, I never had a Super Nintendo or SNES. I love saying SNES. It's funny. I know it's sort of a British or European thing, I guess. But, yeah, I never had that. I had, much like my Mega Drive, I had a Japanese model. So I had a Super Famicom. At the time, I never realised it was called Super Famicom because there was a Famicom. I just thought the NES was the NES everywhere. Anyway, it's easy to see, or say I should say, that was a mouthful, that back then, you know, the Me Machines era and stuff like that, and CVG, this booming 16-bit console, you know, wave was, like, technology was just, like, coming, blowing us away, and I kind of got swept up in the moment. And even though, you know, I had my Mega Drive, and loved it, I kind of got hungry for this, no, I need more, and I never had a Nintendo at that point. Well, no, I had a Game Boy, second hand off my older brother, a couple of years before, maybe 1990, maybe when I had my Mega Drive actually, and I wasn't a massive fan. I mean, does that count as a proper Nintendo? Well, I guess it does, but I was never a Nintendo person, but then I wasn't sort of, you know, massively allegiant to Sega in the sense it was that, but that purchase was because that's what I wanted at the time, and it followed on from, you know, the Sega Master System, so there's a little bit of fanboyism in there, I guess. But there was nothing binding me to Sega, is what I'm trying to say. And I was just about technology, and I guess you could say the whole must have the best. So I can remember in Me Machines where they announced, you know, that Nintendo was going to finally release its 16-bit system, the Super Famicom, and that's, you know, I don't even need to know if they said a follow-up to the Famicom. They just said it was a 16-bit follow-up to the NES. And so I didn't know it stood for Family Computer, Super Family Computer. But all I know is when I saw the specs on it, like, and the music, and, you know, the fact that it's got Mode 7 and it's more powerful than the Mega Drive, witchcraft, I say. I was just like, I was a rabid foaming dog looking at the magazines thinking, sorry, I kept my Mega Drive, don't get me wrong, I didn't flush it down the toilet. I was like, no, I gotta have this, I gotta have the best. And then I found out that, oh wait, we're not gonna get it in the UK, oh that little chestnut, for like a year, maybe 18 months. I think we got it last, maybe we got it before Australia. I don't know. So once again, that burning, ambition in me was, I can't wait. There's no way I need this. I absolutely need it. Look at it. Look at Super Mario Brothers and stuff like that. And so again, I started with the saving up. 3 part-time jobs. I worked Friday night in a pub in the kitchen. I worked Saturday at my dad's garage, and I worked Sunday in a pub. Washing up and waiting on tables. So I was pretty flash with cash, but and at the time the only other kid in school because I think the English Mega Drive was out at this point, but the only other kid at school who had a Japanese Mega Drive after mine, may I add, and then we used to trade games, was a spoiled little bastard, and his parents bought him everything. But he was handy because I used to buy his games off him when he get bored, or I could talk him into buying it. But he agreed. I think he just, because he got one, actually, he got a Super Famicom before me. I'll give him that. He had to one up me because I got a Mega Drive before him. But he was useful. He said, I'll tell you what, I'll take a bunch of your games off you. This is what a pioneer we were. Pioneers we were. We were like cash converters then, or buyback then. He goes, I'll take a bunch of your games off you, and I'll buy them off you, and then when I'm bored, you can buy them back. But then you get the extra money you need with what you've saved up for your Super Famicom to order it straight away. And I was like, done and done. And he put me up. But this time I didn't go through the black and whites as such. I went through the black and whites on his recommendation, where he got his because I don't know, because his parents bought so many games off him or stuff like that. He got deals and stuff. So I actually got my Super Famicom in 1991, I believe. Yes, because I got some American games when we went on holiday. Yeah, I got it in 1991. And for £189, which is the same I got my Mega Drive for, but here's the kicker. Hardwired into RGB, so obviously, hardwired into the back, but proper job, so I went straight into an RGB telly and looked amazing. But yeah, the kicker was, what games did I get? 5? My maths is going to show me up in a minute when I try and list them off, but 5 games came with it because the Super Famicom wasn't, I don't know, maybe it was in Japan, not for me. Was Mario a pack-in game? Or was it just a launch game? I don't know. See, this is it. This is the thing where you miss out on actual launches, and lose details because you do it from magazines and stuff. But yeah, his recommendation, £189, waited and waited and waited. The waiting was, absolute killer. And what was I, 91, 15? So, you're getting up there. You're not an adult as such, but you're not stupid. But you would torture yourself just by reading through the same magazines, as if somehow the text would change. Like the 15th time, yep, just added something in there. No, but yeah, just kept going over the specs again and again and again. And it's weird because when you're waiting for this, I think it took 2 weeks from Japan. From a company that ordered from Japan and modded it, basically. But when you're waiting for your new machine and you're drooling over the specs, you lose. Maybe it's just me. I lost interest in my Mega Drive. I had all these amazing games, or half of them left, apart from the ones that I sold to Mark. Hey, I remembered his name. But did buy them back eventually. I told you, buyback, cash converters, genius. I could have just saved up for it anyway, but like I said, it's that burning sort of, ambition to have it. Also, I'm not going to lie, bragging rights at school. I got addicted to it. I had the taste after bragging about my Mega Drive a year before anyone else had one, and it being better. But yeah, I don't know, you couldn't, maybe it's just me, what do you do? I couldn't invest myself in my Mega Drive because I wanted my Super Famicom. And then the day it came, absolutely fantastic. Like on days off from school and stuff like that, I would still get up early just to wait for the postman. That's how, I had to have it. But it came, and who remembers the packaging? The absolutely amazing packaging. The Western, whether it's American or, European, the Western boxes were shit. The Japanese one was just absolutely a thing of beauty. It kind of, minimalistic, almost to some degree. It did kind of resemble the Japanese Mega Drive box, the sort of, just the drawn nature of it, not real pictures and stuff. I tell you what though, just a bit to go back ever so slightly before I get into opening this Super Famicom. I do remember in the magazines when they were going on and on about, the Super Famicom's coming, but we're going to have the Super NES, and here's the SNES launch details for the UK. And I don't know how true this was, but this was in Mean Machines, and it was a double spread. I don't know if anyone else remembers this, because I swear to God this was in there. They were talking about it, and they said it's going to have a new price point. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was, again, 180 or £179. But this time, they're going to give us the US design. That really square, horrible looking thing with the wrong coloured buttons. Look, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cause offence to anyone over here in North America, but your SNES, the box as we like to call it, was fuck ugly. The Japanese and European ones were just a thing of beauty. And yeah, they said that was going to be, that was what was going to happen. So imagine my surprise when, because at that point I was a little bit annoyed, which is I'm going to get one and it's, but it's that, no, it's not going to look like that. But now, knowing which is obviously the looker and which one is the ugly stepsister, glad I didn't. And I'm glad for whatever reason, they never actually said it. I think everyone expected that to the last minute, then all of a sudden it just went boom. And then we got the lovely beveled, thing of beauty that it was. But anyway, back to opening it. There was a package and another package with it, which is risky. I mean, they were sent at the same time because one was games and one was the box. And I was alright, because when you get one game and you love it and you play it again and again and again and again and again and again because it's all you got. I jumped in and out, which I guess means it took me a while to get around to completing them. But I had, and they came in those VHS boxes, cardboard, fail Nintendo, but it's Nintendo then. Those like VHS shaped boxes, weren't they, the Super Famicom, like long boxes. I had Pilot Wings, Super Mario World, Gradius 3, Super R-Type, Final Fight. That was the 5 games I got with it. So there was this, I wanted to chuck a sickie, but my parents wouldn't let me. Well, what do you can't miss school? It's your exam year. You can't miss school for this. What do you mean you can't miss school for this? I got 5 fucking games in a Super Famicom. It's got 16-bit graphics and Mode 7. But yeah, I was happy to pick and shit. I was genuinely like feverish, swapping them in, swapping them out, going straight back. Like it's not really taking it in or experiencing it and stuff like that. But I do remember the first game I played was Super Mario World. And I knew at the time, and this is just me, despite if you remove the Mode 7 from it, the scaling effects, it's not as good looking as Sonic. I don't care what anyone says. But even then, being a Sega, somewhat of a, my main experience is being Sega and Sonic, I knew that this was something special. This was, never played a Mario game at that point until Super Mario Land on the Game Boy, I think. Yes. No, I don't think. I know. I knew this was something special, and I did actually, keep going back to that, and I did complete that. I think I only got 98% though, and I lost interest because I just couldn't remember or work out what I missed secret wise. But that that was another experience. That was when I was schooled on what a proper platform game is. And then Gradius 3 was never really Gradius fan. Well, no, I liked Nemesis in the arcade, but it kicked my ass. But this was. This was like, just because of the graphics and the bubbles and stuff like that, and the power-ups, and the slowdown, which we just completely and utterly accepted. I don't know why. I mean, I even mentioned it in the magazines, and they would just brush over it, wouldn't they? Go, oh, there's a little bit of slowdown, but what do you expect with this much stuff on screen? I don't know, expect someone to program it properly. That's adult me. But yeah, Gradius was something else. It was a looker, absolute looker. And anything with that Konami screen, the whites and the Konami logo. Back when Konami, you were still gods, not the dicks you are now. Cough, charging for a save space. I call wank. Sorry, but this isn't that video. So yeah, I absolutely loved and adored Gradius. Pilot Wings was something that was really, really, I mean, you could argue that it was a tech demo, but I really, really wanted to play because, it was just the fact that it's got this whole new, it's 3D. It's like what I like to call IKEA flat pack 3D. But yeah, it blew my mind away. I only found out recently that it's only possible, well, it's not super effects, obviously. It's only possible because there's an extra chip in the cartridge. Never knew that, but yeah, that was something else that absolutely just like, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. And at the back of my mind when I'm doing this vlog, I'm trying to think of all the games I ordered from Japan and I can't remember. But yeah, so the plane, and I completed that. The fact that there's an actual military, end of the game. The helicopter. There's a learning the helicopter and taking the helicopter and shooting shit and stuff, or rescue mission. But like the jetpack, the planes, the hand glider, just so it feels like playing golf in the air, if that makes sense. Golf games always relaxed me, and this was such a tranquil and nice sounding game, it was just epic. And again, all my mates would come over for these games and they'd be like, holy shit, I gotta get one. You can't. See you in 18 months. Or a year. And yeah, it was just like, again, my stock at school rose, but enough of that. We'll get to a proper mate story on it when I really was a god, and that was in '92. That was the peak of my god powers at school. But what was the next one? Yeah, Final Fight, only one character, slow down, no 2-player, didn't care, absolutely didn't care. That was, you know, because Final Fight, let's be honest, if you've my generation, Final Fight in the arcades was just something else, absolutely mind-blowing beta. I mean, you know, Streets of Rage and stuff like that. Meh. Final Fight was the original and the daddy, and as poor as that version was, it looked like the arcade, don't get me wrong, at least to me, it looked like the arcade. That was still an absolute, you know, that was another one to show off to your mates. And then Super R-Type. Massive fan of R-Type, loved it, played it, well, not in the arcade, in Longleat Survival Park. Safari Park. Survival Park? Well, they chuck you in with the lions. That would be epic. Not for me to watch. Yeah, I knew it wasn't a true arcade port because I'd seen R-Type 2. I've never really got my head around that because obviously it's Super Gradius 3, wasn't it? This whole Super because obviously it's a new system. I've never liked that, you know, naming it. I mean, thank God the Mega Drive didn't go with Mega Sonic or Mega Streets of Rage or something like that. But yeah, so Super R-Type, again, that stuff from Slowdown, but that was a looker. And the music, that's when I started to realise that the music on this was something else compared to the Mega Drive. It was way, way better. It was way up here. But then having said that, I always preferred the Mega Drive music because it sounded more like the arcades to me. This was too orchestral, if that makes sense. But yeah, there's no denying that game, like graphically and musically, and despite Slowdown, which again we would brush over as they did in the magazines, was mind-blowing. What was the other one? Have I covered them all? I can't remember. I think so. Excuse me. Aspartame goodness. So, you know, I was that initial chunk of games lasted me for absolutely ages. And once I got past that, you know, immediate sort of, if there's such a phrase, I bought my games back off the other kid as well because that's the OCD, I mean, always be like that, that's the OCD collector in me. I needed to have those games back in my collection. But now thoughts would turn to, you know, reading the import sections or in magazines and stuff like that, what games to get next, and that would be ActRaiser. Oh my god, completed that, which populist-ish style game, it's a god game. Yeah, I'm quite amazed that I completed that because while it's not fully on like, you know, Populous and stuff like that, it's Japanese text, but that was something where I did say this music is amazeballs. But I was never into sort of those planning games like that, but you had to do your map, stuff like that, look after kids' crops, look after the kids, you know what I mean, like the top-down god level to unlock, you know, your playable side-scrolling levels, which I thought was brilliant. Really was disappointed when ActRaiser 2 came out. But that was, you know, you could argue that graphically that wasn't amazeballs, but the music and the sort of concept of the game just sold me. And that was one game when I popped it in, nothing went into that cartridge until I finished that game. Now, in between this, you know, Japanese stuff and things like that, we went to Boston on holiday, my first trip to America. So this is 91. And there was 2 games I bought. We were in the States, but on 2 occasions, but I'll get to that. So because my dad's brother emigrated in the 60s, so there's a half of the Wade family in the States. And so we went there for the first time, and I knew that obviously the SNES was out at that point, or the SNES, I hate saying it like that, sorry, it's regionalisms, was out, and so I thought, I can get a game. And so I ordered one of those converters you stuck in. This was before you needed the one where you put 2 cartridges in to circumvent the copyright protection, or the region coding, I should say. I just had this thing that you put in and it just bought the cartridge slot up level, or, you know, plush with the system. So you put it on, but then if someone walked by really quickly, a brush of wind would go against it, it would fall out and the game would short out and stuff like that. But who cares? And so, you know, we used to go, I mean, I had a wonderful time on holiday there, and my uncle gave us to play in the basement because you know, my parents stayed upstairs. He had a massive house, and 3 of us were in the basement. It was a nice basement. It wasn't like, you know, imprisoned or anything. Yeah, and then there was a TV down there, and yeah, so he gave us his kids who'd gone to college or moved out at this point. Sorry. NES to play on, and that's the first time I saw the twisty thing for an American TV, and we just didn't know how to fucking connect it. We had to go upstairs and ask, and he's like, "What are you, retarded?" And no, we just have proper TV connectors. I'm not helping myself with loading this with them and us, aren't I, in this video? But so we used to go to it was probably a Walmart or a Kmart, and it was opposite. I was talking about this opposite this amazing bar pool arcade place called Winner's Circle, which is the first time I played Simpsons Arcade and Street Fighter 2 and Mad Dog McCree. But no, I think it was $49, does that sound about right? $49 in 1991, and I bought, what did I buy first? Super Castlevania 4. again, and I couldn't. That was a killer though. We were there for 3 weeks, and I couldn't play it for 3 weeks. And I knew about it and how good it was supposed to be, and bought some American magazines and stuff like that. That was great, by the way. What was the American magazine that covered all formats and had a cartoon superhero of their own, like a video game man drawn in it? I can't remember. Game Pro. That's a complete guess. So I bought all these magazines and I was looking and drooling over it and looking at the back of the box. And even though I had fun in everything, you know what it's like when you're a kid. I'm like, I need to get home and play this. And I do remember when we finally got home, jet lagged as I was, that was it. That was into the cartridge. I think everyone else was going passed out, knackered and shit like that. And I was like, no, consuming massive amounts of coke and caffeine, must stay awake. And, the scaling effects and that is close to a perfect game. Love it, Probably the reason I actually caved in the end and bought a SNES Classic Mini. Emulation fine, but like that, I don't know, I feel like you got a proper sort of version of Super Castlevania 4. But yeah, never played any other Castlevania before that or since that until, being an adult and going back into retro, I guess. But yeah, I loved it. Absolutely amazing. The music in that was amazeballs. I don't think I completed that. I think I got really, really, really close to the end and just couldn't beat a boss or something. And then it was funny because the next time we went on holiday to Boston, Windy Pots, stayed with my dad's brother. The next game I bought was Contra 3. And again, the whole experience of waiting, looking at magazines, looking at the back of the case, rinse and repeat when I got home. But that was something else. I didn't beat that. That was absolutely balls hard. And yeah, but again, the graphics, the music, the balls hard. I think that was probably the hardest game I played at that point. That was, my first introduction. This Nintendo was my first introduction, well, granted, because it's Nintendo, walked into that one, to so many sort of, classic key game franchises. And again, I showed my mates this, when I came back, and they were like, holy shit, and who remembers Winner Stays On? Winner Stays On, absolutely fantastic. And it's just up to this point, I was just like on a high of riding this amazing system, and I still played my Mega Drive. But I'm not gonna lie, predominantly at this point, I was a Nintendo kid. And then the last game I want to talk about, because this is the big impact, well, two actually, big impact of the system on me. But it was that kid I talk about, Mark. He imported this. Again, he used to help me out with games because, I don't know, it was in his interest for some reason, because no one else had these systems. So he'd help me, and then I'd obviously buy one, then he'd get first dibs back and forth and stuff like that. But I'm not going to lie. It was really handy having this, a kid who was absolutely fucking loaded to help you out, because all my money came from my job. And so he helped me import Street Fighter 2, because we remember, and I'd seen Street Fighter 2 for the first time on holidays, they said. But we were like, it's arcade perfect. It's not. It's bloody good. And it was just like, this was the must-have game. And I was in my massive Jackie Chan and Van Damme, because Van Damme was still cool then, phase. So, because I used to do Taekwondo back then. So, I did other stuff than play video games, see? Well, obviously, because I had 3 jobs at the weekend. Did most of my gaming on school nights. So I had to have this, and he helped me out with it, and it cost me, and I don't think I ever told my parents. I don't think I told my mates, even my brothers. It cost me in 1992, so I don't know, someone do the maths for me, adjust it with a rate of inflation or something to today's money. £75. Didn't care. Never really properly played it in the arcade, apart from a couple of times, so I don't understand the concept of the linking together moves and stuff like that, but oh my god, did I sink my life into that game. It was fantastic, this one-on-one fighting, initially with my brothers. Then when we hit the summer holidays, that I was, excuse me, I was the go-to kid. Like, we used to get all my mates from down the road in the village. We used to come up, and I slept in a tiny, smaller than this room, a little box room with a mattress on the floor and a TV at one side like that on a stand. With my Super Famicom underneath and all my games lined up, and we used to play Winner Stays On, and we would have competitions, and it'd be sunny outside. 92 was a good summer, mind. It'd be sunny outside, and we would sit in there, rapidly becoming opaque and ill through lack of vitamin D. Is it D or E? I don't know. From being in the sun, basically, looking like Dracula, and we just have Winner Stays On tournaments that would go on for like 4 or 5 hours. I swear to God, my parents and their parents probably just thinking, where are they? They're at that Wade kid's house again. But yeah, that was a fucking amazing summer. That was brilliant. That was probably, one of my favourite gaming, probably my favourite gaming summer across all systems ever. Oh, there we go, continuity error. Let's see who spots it. Apparently my phone can only do files of 24 minutes. Meh. Anyway, where was I? Yes, this would be the swan song, if you will. This might be the penultimate or even the final game I bought on my Super Famicom. Because at this point, maybe a year or maybe 18 months' time, I was close to jumping ship. At which point, again, onwards and upwards to another Japanese system, PlayStation, but I've talked about that. This game would be as well, and I found out in a magazine, whether it was Mean Machines or not, that it was optimized for PAL, apparently. Or so I understood then. So I thought, do you know what? I'll buy the English one. I won't import it. I'll buy the English one just for one to go downtown and buy it, because obviously at this point, we're well into the SNES, the UK SNES being out, and it's funny because even though I lost some of my coolness. Because everyone else had the system now, I still retain the fact that my system was better because the power system was bordered and ran slow, and it even ballsed up the music. Anyway, yeah. So, and I didn't need the adapter for once for use on a foreign game, because it was a British game, and so yeah, I bought Turtles in Time. I think like most people, I bought it because I'm pretty sure this was an arcade game, but I bought it because we never got the original Turtles game on any home 16-bit systems. You got it on NES later on, but that's not the same. And everyone loved Turtles, and everyone loved the original Turtles game. So that was the reason I bought it, and the fact that it got amazing reviews and had Mode 7 and stuff like that. And it was Turtles, and it was multiplayer. Yeah, and it was nice for a change to go downtown. I could have bought PAL games at this point anyway, but I just always preferred, all my games on the shelf looking, flush and nice and the same. Didn't mind the American ones as such, because they came from, overseas. They were foreign games as well to me, so they were kind of cool, and there was two of them. But Turtles, stood out. But yeah, I just thought, fuck it. And I bought it, and I loved it, and me and my mates played the crap out of it. And it's a really good game, and it's just like a fitting end to what was, one of my favourite gaming episodes of my life. Now I prefer the Mega Drive. It's my favourite console of all time. And even then, possibly a little bit more, but I played the crap out of the Super Nintendo. There was no denying that it was a classy Super Nintendo, Super Famicom. It was a classy machine. The Mode 7 was their introduction to 3D and stuff like that, and it was a brilliant period of my life. And just the fact that it was Japanese again, and the fact that these import games may be kind of cool and popular at school and stuff like that. I just look back upon the whole thing and I have such warm, fuzzy nostalgia to it. Super Famicom will go down as an epic part of my gaming history. So, as always, I'd love to know what you think. What were your experiences with the Super Famicom, or was it, the SNES, or was it an American SNES? Your experience with the games and stuff like that. And do you have as much nostalgia for it now? Or even more so, because it's just a fantastic machine. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.